I think it's safe to say that after watching these two episodes, I can pretty much blame my undiagnosed ADHD on the silence. So, thanks, Doctor Who. Hello everyone, I'm Papa Kenn and welcome to episode 59 of Discovering Doctor Who. Yes, we have started officially the sixth season. I was going to say the fifth season, but we've started the sixth season, and what a start it was. I mean, first of all, apparently this was when they started the big push into the American market, and so the Doctor and Amy and Rory are in America, and River, of course, and to experience all kinds of stuff, include Richard Nixon and the moon landing and the Doctor dying. Yeah. Anyway, well, as the two episodes I'm talking about here are The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. And let's get right into it with my favorite parts of these two episodes, starting with Canton, Delaware. And just in case you didn't know this, the future or the older Canton, Delaware was played by Mark Sheppard's father, William Sheppard. So I thought it was brilliant that they actually did that. I didn't know that Mark Sheppard's dad was an actor, but apparently he's also been in quite a few things. And so yeah, the fact that they used father and son for the same character, both, at a I guess middle-aged age and also as an elder, I just thought that was really brilliant. And I was actually beginning when I said this, I was going to make a Crowley joke, but we're way past that point now. But yeah, for anyone that watches Supernatural, Crowley! But there was just so much to love about this character. And I really got the Crowley vibe from him. It may just be because I watched Supernatural before this show, so maybe that's just sort of me, subconsciously putting that upon the character. But I just love the guy. I think he's a great actor, and he really did good in this role in both episodes. And I absolutely loved the last interaction between I keep forgetting his name, between Canton and Richard Nixon, where they're talking, it was talking about throughout the two episodes, like, he got kicked out of the FBI because he wanted to marry someone, and the Doctor and Amy and Rory didn't understand why. So Nixon says, "So the person you want to marry is black?" And he's like, "Yep, he is." I just found that absolutely brilliant and made me love that character even more than I already did. But moving on, the second favorite part of these two episodes, the silence, or the silent, I guess might be it, because that's how I keep seeing them online, but they keep being referred to as the silence, so I don't know, whatever, I'm going to call them the silence. But in the first episode, I will say I didn't find them too intimidating. I mean, they were definitely creepy, and it was weird to see them just standing there. That was pretty intimidating, but then when it talked, it sort of... I don't know. It did make it goofy, but it made it feel kind of strange. But as a whole, especially once we got into the second episode, the reality of just how big and how gigantic and everything that the silence encompasses on the planet Earth in the Doctor Who universe, it was just it was pretty amazing. And I thought that they just did a brilliant job of managing the whole conspiracy, and the markings all over Amy and Rory, the Doctor, no, not the Doctor, but and River Song as well. I really thought that was really cool that they were able to just take this mythos of the silence and make it this entirely new, very intimidating, and very strange and sometimes confusing creature. And the way that, you know, humans basically have to interact with them because they don't remember a single thing that happens afterward. And it really, and the way that they sort of recreated that scene, well, they didn't completely recreate it, but it was a similar scene as to when, like the silence, which was obviously behind Richard Nixon in that preview that I saw before. You know, it was one of those that was behind him, so he couldn't remember because he may have seen it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of rambling at this point, but yeah, I just thought they were pretty cool and very interesting throughout both episodes, more so in the second one than the first. Now, my third favorite part of these two episodes, the fact that the whole gang's together again, and we didn't have to wait very long for that to happen. I mean, it happened at the end of season 5, and now we're starting up season 6 with the whole gang together. River Song, Rory, Amy, and the Doctor, future and current Doctor, however you want to put that, I guess. But yeah, it was just, I know one of the commenters in the previous one, I'm sorry I keep forgetting to write down the commenters' names, but it's easier for me to just mention the commenter. You know who you are. But they basically said that they love, or they find the episodes more enjoyable when the whole crew is together. When River Song is with with Rory and Amy and the Doctor, and I have to agree that really does bring out a level of enjoyment in these episodes that without her. I mean, they can still be good episodes. They can still be really enjoyable, but it's like they gain a little something with her being there. That's what I have. That's probably the best way to put it. Yeah, her being there just adds something, a whole new level to the episodes, and just makes them that much better. But anyway, moving on. Favorite part number 4 of these two episodes was Day of the Moon's introduction. Now, I didn't like it at first because I was confused because they shoot down Amy, then River jumps off the building, and then Rory gets shot, and they have these black markings all over their arms, and Rory has it like all over his face too, which I thought was kind of weird. And it's just like, oh, okay, they're getting shot down, but apparently they're going to get brought back to life at some point. So what's the point of this, being this way at the beginning? And then, of course, we find out what's actually happening. The Doctor and Crowley, I'm going to call him Crowley, it's because it's just easier to remember. But they were conspiring together just to make that big escape. And once it all got turned around on me, once I found out what was going on, once the truth of the situation was revealed, I really enjoyed that introduction after that. Now, again, it's like, at first I didn't care for it, it was kind of annoying me, but then when the truth came out, I just absolutely loved it. It was really enjoyable. But moving on, my 5th favorite part of these two episodes would be the tally marks. Now, one thing that did kind of bug me admittedly is that I think someone mentions that it's like, what are those marks? And the first thing that came to mind for me was, they're tally marks. They're not mysterious. They've obviously marked on themselves, but the fact that the tally marks represented every time that they saw the silence but couldn't remember it, so in conjunction they couldn't remember what the tallies were for. And it was just, it was mysterious, kind of creepy. The whole mystery, the way characters reacted to it kind of annoyed me, but the tally marks themselves was just really cool, and I like that element of the second episode, especially when all of a sudden they appear on Amy's arm again when she's in that one house. Oh, that was an amazing, amazing moment. But moving on, my 6th favorite part of these two episodes was when Amy sees the picture of her holding the baby in the little girl's room. So Amy's unborn daughter, which I can only assume she actually still is pregnant, even though she doesn't think she is in the second episode. I can only assume her unborn daughter is the astronaut. The astronaut that kills the Doctor at the beginning of the first episode, at the beginning of The Impossible Astronaut. And what? That just raises all kinds of questions that I hope is going to be answered. At least some of them will be answered this season. From what some people have mentioned in the comments, that doesn't sound too promising that it will actually happen. But I hope at least some answers that I have will be answered. I'm going in circles here, but yeah, it blows my mind. Like the concept of that the daughter of Amy, who says that the Doctor is her best friend, kills the Doctor while a child in a spacesuit that was created by the Silence, or being used by the Silence. Oh, that actually kind of hurts my head trying to think about. So let's move on to my 7th favorite part of these 2 episodes, which was, maybe it seemed subtle to me, maybe not so subtle, but it was after River had that deep, passionate kiss with the Doctor, and it's like, well, of course, it was funny with him seeming all kind of like, what's going on here? What's going on? And her being surprised that he seemingly hasn't done that with her before, or at least he doesn't remember doing that, and then her response, so apparently she remembers something that he doesn't. So have the Silence removed certain memories that, I don't know. It leaves me kind of confused. And again, it's like any of these things I'm kind of mumbling on and kind of confused. If some of you can, unless it's a spoiler for a future episode, if you can kind of help me sort my thoughts out here, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, just the fact that the Doctor seems to have forgotten something that happened with River. Seemingly so, unless it's just something that happens in his future, happened in her past, but she thinks might have happened vice versa. I don't know. Anyway, moving on, my 8th and final favorite part of these 2 episodes, the "your stupid face" situation. Now, when Rory was listening in on that ship, when Amy was alone, and he could hear what she was saying through the chip, and he thinks that she's talking about the Doctor, that she thinks that she's saying, "I love you" to the Doctor. Now, I won't lie. When she first said that line, when she says the line about, "I love you," I thought she was talking about the Doctor too, especially when she said something along the lines of, when you fell out of the sky into my life," or something like that. I thought she was talking about the Doctor too, but I had a little sliver of hope that they were just trying to mislead. And when the moment came that she was telling him to get away because she was trying to tell him to escape, it's like, "Get your stupid face out of here," I had the biggest smile on my face when that happened, because it's like, inwardly I was thinking, I knew it! But also, it was just, it made me so happy, because Rory had all that doubt. He's like, he was thinking, it's like, the woman I love loves this spaceman, and that whole situation, the way it was resolved, I absolutely loved it. And that was, that was kind of out of order from the rest of these, but I just found that moment, that whole little scenario, to be amazing. I absolutely loved it, and it honestly made me love Rory and Amy just a little bit more than I already did, and I already love them, to be quite honest. Alright, but moving on, and there were quite a few other great parts about these 2 episodes, so if you have any others, those are my cats, if you have any others, let me know what some of your favorite moments were. But moving on to some of my annoyances, and there were a handful, I will say. Let's start off with number 1. I couldn't take the Doctor's death very seriously. Now, I realize that I can only assume it's part of this season's story arc, the overarching story arc for the whole season. But just, it's the first episode of the season, and he gets gunned down. I don't know, for some reason I just couldn't see that happen and really feel much emotion. I just kind of had a, well, that's weird moment. And yeah, that's kind of all I had from it. I feel like it should have elicited more of a reaction from me, but yeah, just for some reason, all I had was just what? So yeah, I wish it would have gotten more out of me, but unfortunately it didn't. So yeah, that's my first annoyance. My second annoyance with these two episodes was that the period in between the end of The Impossible Astronaut and the beginning of Day of the Moon it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, 3 months elapsed of the crew running away and the doctor being captured, and Crowley putting up this whole facade of not remembering anything and supposedly forgetting what happened. But then, we have this little flashback that's sort of like, a few seconds after the end of The Impossible Astronaut, and it doesn't really seem to ever get resolved. It just, it drives me crazy. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I wish it did, but it just doesn't. But anyway, yeah, just the confusion there kind of blows my mind. If I missed something, if you can help me sort of help me get that through my head a little bit more, I'd really appreciate it. Moving on, my third annoyance with these two episodes, I actually kind of mentioned it earlier. They're tally marks! They're not mysterious marks. They're black marks on their arms. They're not mysterious. They're not mysterious marks. They're tally marks. Simple as that. All right, my fourth annoyance with these two episodes. And it's the beginning of the second episode, Day of the Moon. Matt Smith's beard. No. Just, no. Dude, please don't do that again in the show. Please. It just, I don't claim to be able to grow a great beard, but it looked weird. But I'm not going to linger on that. Moving on. The next annoyance with, the final annoyance with these two episodes, and I have it written here in all caps. How do they remember anything after confronting the silence and saving Amy? It doesn't make any sense. They've seen the silence. They've looked away several times. Yes, they are surrounded by silence, but once all the silence are dead and they're not looking at them, they remember what happened. How is that possible? When you kill one of the silence, does it break the spell? Which doesn't make any sense, because when you look at a picture or a hologram of them, it still messes with your memory. So, and maybe that's just something that they had to do to just kind of end the episode. Maybe it's something that'll be explained later, but it drives me crazy when there are just inconsistencies like that, where basically just to get the plot moving along, just to I don't know. Again, it's I feel like I'm rambling a lot in this one, but it's because these two episodes left me rather confused. And when I get confused, it leaves me in sort of a rambly state, I guess you could say. I don't know. But yeah, that was my last annoyance. And there, obviously I wrote down a handful of them, but overall, I feel like as much as they confused me, as much as they kind of annoyed me, they don't feel as severe in comparison to the good aspects of these two episodes, and there were quite a few, to be completely honest, in my opinion. But moving on from there, before I finish, if you have any annoyances that you would like to voice, or if you'd like to perhaps help me understand some parts about the episode that can make these annoyances go away, please do explain, because several of you have been able to make me forget entire annoyances that I had before, because I either just forgot something, silence, or maybe I just misread or misinterpreted something. So again, it's like if any of these annoyances annoy you and you have a reason why, or no wait, my reasons annoy you. Yeah. Anyway, just let me know down in the comments. All right, moving on. The song of the episodes actually. I have two. I have the main one and an honorable mention. I'll say the honorable mention first, just because I feel like it it was kind of a given, but it's I Am the Doctor in Utah, and it's a version of I Am the Doctor, which I don't know how many different versions of that there is, but it was really good. I really liked that song. It was one that I replayed several times while checking out the soundtrack on YouTube. So yeah, that one was really good. But as far as just songs of these two episodes, Day of the Moon was my favorite. It was just really good, and it was another one of those where there were quite a few songs that made it hard to choose from, including I don't know if it's the Impossible Astronaut or something named along those lines, but yeah, there were just quite a few songs on here on these two episodes that were really good. But for me, at least, Day of the Moon was my favorite, other than I Am the Doctor in Utah, as I mentioned already. All right, so before I move on, let me know what some of your favorite songs from these two episodes were. But now, moving on to the quote of the episode, and this might not surprise you, considering what I was talking about earlier in my favorites, but the quote of the episode comes from Amy, as Rory's listening in through that little chip. And she says, "I love you. I know you think it's him. I know you think it ought to be him, but it's not. It's you. And when I see you again, I'm going to tell you properly, just to see your stupid face. My life was so boring before you just dropped out of the sky. Just get your stupid face where I could see it, okay? Okay." And the reason why I love it, again, it's like that when I heard that line, I was feeling hopeful, just had that little sliver of hope that maybe it was Rory that she's talking about. But once it was revealed that she was talking to him, it filled me with so much joy, and it made me so very happy. So yeah, moving on. And believe me, there's quite a few other great lines from this episode, so let me know what some of yours were, but that was definitely my favorite, and I'm going to really work on saying moving on before I go back and to change my mind about that. Again, people, rusty. I'm trying to get back in the mode of doing this. But as for my overall thoughts on these two episodes, I really enjoyed them. This is Season 6 getting off to a running start. Both very good, very strong, despite my annoyances, but very strong episodes, and I feel like one of the stronger openings for a season overall. I mean, especially considering they made the opening a two-parter, which I'm pretty sure they haven't done before in the new Doctor Who. But yeah, they did a really good job. The characters were wonderful and really fun. Loved Crowley. Yeah, I'm still calling him Crowley. Richard Nixon, while I was disappointed by the visual portrayal, the audible portrayal, like I said from the preview, it's like, the guy did a pretty good job most of the time of sounding a lot like Nixon, or at least how Nixon sounds according to old clips that I've heard. So yeah, I just found that the episodes were really good. What else can I say? If anyone doesn't like these two episodes for some reason, please let me know why, because I would love to hear your perspective. But for me, despite my annoyances, they weren't severe enough to make me not enjoy this episode. It was just episodes. They were pretty darn strong together. But alright, well, coming up next will be The Curse of the Black Spot, an episode with pirates. Arr! I don't know what kind of little accent I was jumping into right there at the end, but everyone, thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you so much for your patience and waiting for me to start up this new season. I've really been pushing hard to try and get this done, and in fact, I'm doing this late at night, before the episode is going to be going up tomorrow on Friday, hopefully, fingers crossed. But just, again, everyone, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you all being a part of this community. The community itself is a wonderful bunch of people. I have seen some more debates popping up lately, and you know, some of it seems like it's going to be pretty heated, but it seems like people are able to neutralize the situation before it gets to be too much, and I just really, really appreciate that. I want this to stay a good community. I honestly don't care if we ever reach 600 subscribers or more than that, because I just want, no matter how big or how small the community is, I just want it to be a good place where people can have dialogue, where they can discuss, debate if they want to, but never have it become a match of insults, because I don't want that to happen at all. And so far, again, you all have just been amazing, and I really, really do appreciate it. Sonic myself just then. But anyway, everyone, I will see you next time for the Curse of the Black Spot, and until then... What? Oh. I was going to say something.